Good evening. Glad everybody can make it out tonight. Went down to Guyana earlier this year. This all came about from a presentation at CYC. I think it was 2, maybe 3 years ago. They had asked for some help and support at a children's home that's located in Guyana. And it took a little while, but I finally had the opportunity to go down there and check it out and just kind of see what it was all about. So tonight, that's kind of the discussion that we're going to have. Just look over it, see if it's something we may want to support, see if it's somewhere we may want to go back to. There's a lot of opportunity that we could grasp onto down there. And I know in the past we've kind of followed some other churches' leads, and maybe to get started we would follow theirs, but we could definitely find our own niche or function down there. Just a quick, I always like to know what we're talking about and where we're talking about. So there's a star up there close to where we're at, and the circle is Guyana. I was really excited. I thought I was going to get to go south of the equator, and I'd already paid attention to which way the toilet swirled up here. And I found out right before I went down there I wasn't going to get to see it swirl the other direction. So I get excited over some interesting stuff. But anyway, it's about 342 miles north of the equator, by the way. The circle down there is actually where the children's home is. And over there near the bridge across the bay is kind of where you fly into. And I think I missed it on the other slide. It's very seasonal temperatures down there, being that close to the equator. Stays about 87 degrees year round, don't change much night to day. I don't sound that hot. Out in the desert, it's a dry heat. That's the wet heat. It's very tropical, a lot of rain. So even though the temperature is a little cooler than here, you walk outside and you'll start sweating just about immediately. Travel to Georgetown. I know in the past we went to Ghana and to Mexico. I'm not sure how far the Ghana or the Mexico trip was, but it takes about 8 hours of travel. That was including me driving down to Birmingham, getting on a flight, just a couple hours to Miami. Most of it was spent at customs and driving. The traffic down there at the time of day was very, very heavy. So 8 hours, that includes your time from here all the way down and getting to your hotel. The return trip was not so good. I wound up having to fly. I flew into Miami, up to Philadelphia, and then back into Birmingham. So that was quite a long day. Started about 4 in the evening and got back about lunch the next day. But definitely could improve on that. Looked at a lot of flights through United, and they have some flights to Houston and directly there, and then Houston back, so that would cut down a lot on that trip. Requirements. So travel is pretty easy getting down there. Definitely want to go with somebody you're familiar with, the area. I started to kind of go all the way on my own and try to catch a taxi, and I'm very glad I didn't. That's not a safe way to travel in that area. You want to travel with somebody you know. You can, if you want to go down there to see it, you could do it in a couple of days very easily, being the closer distances. Passports required, as most places outside the country is. There's no mandated vaccines, but a lot of them are recommended. The mosquito-borne illnesses are the worst. One of the ladies did catch chikungunya, if I'm pronouncing that right, while we was down there. Mosquitoes was pretty bad, but somebody showed us a trick to use dryer sheets, wipe off with dryer sheets, and it seemed to work pretty good. Cell phone signal is better than, I didn't expect to have any, but it turned out to be decent in a few areas, especially around the hotel. It was decent. Money and lodging. This is my favorite part. If you know me, you know I like Pepsi. And so when I left Miami after I got through the airport, I stocked my carry-on with Pepsi because I didn't expect to have any when I got down there. Well, I found Pepsi down there, and it was a cheap price. It was $440 for a Pepsi and about $5,000 for a meal. That's Guyana money. Our exchange rate is a little bit better than that. So it's still about $2.20 for a 20-ounce Pepsi and about $23 for the food, and that was at the hotel. The food was very good compared to what I was expecting when I got down there. I really didn't know what I was getting into. I met people down there, so a lot of this was kind of a roll of the dice. Most places, I'd say at least a quarter of them to a half would take U.S. dollars, especially hotels and eating places seem to be pretty popular. Hotel was very nice for $100 a night. Didn't expect to have air conditioner or anything when I got down there, but it turned out the hotel room had a pretty decent air conditioner, which was nice. So the current oversight, and I kind of start slowing down here a little bit. Stephen Kelly, he's a youth minister at the Cathy's Creek Church of Christ, Hampshire, Tennessee. Had talked to him on the phone a few times. He's the one I contacted to get the ball rolling and get down there and meet him. He is the missionary over the work. His elders oversee it, but they have placed him in charge of it. And if you meet the guy, you'll see why. He's very passionate about this work. He follows through with it. He stays on top of it. He manages the money that he sends them very, very well, in my opinion. So he's a direct oversight, not only for the children's home, but for the Enmore Church of Christ that's there right beside the children's home. About $130 per month is what they invest in the children. And that's everything from food, clothing. It covers just about everything. And prices down there for them are very high. And that goes all the way through building and clothing and stuff. They have their taxes are almost the cost of the stuff that they buy. That's VAT taxes. I didn't know what that meant, but that's value-added tax is what they call that. So a car, if car costs $10,000, you're going to pay $10,000 in taxes on top of the car price. So they also provide about $800 a month to the minister who also works with the home. He takes care of a lot of the leg work and does a good job overseeing it. There's a picture of the church building, very nice for what you would expect. The walls are open to atmosphere. It's not air conditioned or conditioned of any kind. They did put some fans in there, I think, mainly for us. So members from that church, they provide the care for the children there, which is 9 members. They work around the clock, rotating. I don't know if they stay on straight shifts or if they change day to night, or I don't know how they do that. I should have asked. While the children are in the home, they share the gospel with them. It's an opportunity for them to grow. You can imagine a third world country, the opportunities they have are very limited. So the home is a welcome place for them. And they try to teach the child to grow up and be able to fit in the economy down there and provide for themselves and have a spiritual upbringing as well. Electricity is spotty at the building, so they do have a small battery backup system, mainly because they have special needs children there at times, and from my experience with that, you got to have electricity to keep medicine and stuff like that, and even that has become pretty spotty from what they tell us. There's a picture of the inside of the church. Keep it very clean. They was putting on a VBS when this picture was taken. That's Stephen Kelly in the Tennessee orange shirt. I'm not sure how y'all feel about the orange, but very energetic, very involved. There's the outside of it. The pictures don't do it justice. The pictures in this case actually look a lot better than actually seeing it in person. You would not want to play in that ditch. their septic and other systems are nowhere near what you would want. So there, where the red indicator is, that's the Hope Children's Home and Church of Christ in that section there. Across the street, and there's a little kind of a drainage, swampish type area. Over to the far left is what they're trying to make into the new building. You know, the buildings that they got there are pretty nice. The roofs are starting to deteriorate. There's holes in their ceiling from where the water is falling through. But all in all, they're taking pretty good care of it. Approximately 30 children stay at the home at any given time. They're the only orphanage in Guyana, and there's not but a couple that can have special needs children. And I'm guessing that the approximation of 2% with special needs. They can keep the children till they're 18, and at that point in time, they try to relocate the child back with some type of family member. The children are expected to do chores. They do their own laundry. They clean up after themselves. And in the end, you know, they've had some pretty good success stories. They have a child that was blind down there that comes back and has continued to come to their church. And he can't see the songbook, but he's memorized all the songs, and he is the Church of Christ, their song leader. Just another picture of the children there near the conclusion of the VBS. That's one of the caretakers there on the right. I think Kamal was her name. And by the way, this is an English-speaking country. Communication is a lot easier, but they do have a broken English. They call it pidgin English, but you can understand them. I'm sure me being Southern didn't cause them any issues understanding me. Just some more pictures. You can see the daylight through the back wall there. The side walls are the same. Another picture of the building, the new one. So this project started, and it's had its ups and downs. Started sometime around 2007. They started raising money from U.S.-based churches to build this building across the street from them that would be able to contain them all. And security is a big issue. They've had problems with people breaking into the home. A bunch of new shoes was purchased, and shortly thereafter they come up missing. So the idea behind this is the horseshoe shape to kind of keep the children an area to play outside and still be able to protect them from the people that shouldn't be there and get in. During the building of this, the elder that was over this, I'm not sure what happened. It sounds like dementia or some type of that took over, and he got down there, and I guess he didn't know what he was doing down there. He kind of lost touch, and no fault of his own. That stuff happens. But the construction stopped in 2019 after financial issues. He had started some work, and there was no money to pay for it. Contractor was very nice about it, allowed the current oversight. They repaid all the money and now are working toward the capabilities to finish this. Inside that building would be the capabilities to do laundry, plenty of bedding, the girls' dormitory. There's children sleeping over batteries that they use for the backup power. And if you've ever been around batteries much, the longer they stay there, the more you can smell the fumes coming off of them. And there's just no other place to put them. It's a packed environment. They're sleeping just about elbow to elbow in there. So we kind of already jumped into the history. Project started, health issues, previous oversight, got into some financial. There's been some bad publicity in the past with some of the oversight. From reading the news that came out on it, I think they were speaking way out of turn. I did inquire into it, and I didn't see where anything was justified in the problems, but still, nonetheless, there was some bad publicity. So construction stopped in 2019 after the financial issues we talked about, and then Cathy's Creek Church of Christ took over in 2020. And current oversight has paid off all the debts. doing a good job, staying involved in it. They got about $175,000 toward finishing the new building. So I'm sure most everybody in here knows that when you start a building, you want to finish it. You know, you can imagine framing up a house and stopping right there and letting the elements, the rain and everything, take a toll on your lumber, which this is not lumber, but still the sun and the rain is constantly damaging what they've already finished. A lot of the mortar will already have to be redone before the top is added to it. So stuff we could possibly help with, you know, we have a lot of ongoing mission efforts to where we support monthly or yearly. A good target would be to assist them in getting the new building finished, and they're trying to reach out to other congregations. So if you know other congregations that I could go speak at and to help them pursue this cause, I would be more than willing to go do that. But be nice to help them get that building blacked in, at least to the point that maybe some groups could go down from various churches and start doing the interior work. There's no way that we could finish the black in project. I went down there with that in my mind, and it's a big project, and the way they build stuff is different. Opportunities for other work. You know, we could go down there and do all kinds of work at the home, and I think it'd be a good place. You know, if you've never been on a mission trip, it would be a good place to start. There's opportunities to branch out. The interior of Guyana there's not a lot there, so there's plenty of places to go. I think there's 4 or 5 churches that already support Churches of Christ down there in that area. And from Amelia's ward, Marissa, do you remember the name of the church that supported it? It's in Florence, ain't it? North Highlands Church of Christ supports. In Russellville supports Amelia's ward. But a lot of opportunities that we could go down there and do some stuff. And like I said earlier, you know, reach out to some other churches, either me go speak or Stephen one. I'd like to get him up here to speak to us one night anyway. I think everybody would like. You know, and there's a lot of reasons why, you know, from taking care of the sick and everybody, but James 1:27, pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this: to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction, and to keep I'm having some trouble reading that. Keep himself unspotted from the world. So as always, anytime we have this opportunity, we present the opportunity if you need to come forward to put on Christ in baptism. If you need the prayers of the church, there's this opportunity that we have now. If you want to come, stand as we stand and sing.